Good evening. Oh, wait, I'll wait till John.
I'm good.
Good evening. It is 7:35. I'd like to call the meeting to order. Would you please stand for the opening prayer and the Pledge of Allegiance?
Lord, we are meeting here tonight to conduct matters of business. Guide our hearts and our minds in the spirit of fairness, right thought, and speech. Impart your supreme wisdom upon our activities so that our affairs may reach a successful conclusion. Thank you for being the source of our guidance tonight. Amen.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay. Roll call, please.
Lorraine,
Present.
Shoemaker, present. Mathis,
Here.
Kessler,
Here.
Krug is here, Gopal,
Here.
Tucker.
Present.
You have a full board.
Okay, thank you. To members of tonight's audience, remember it is being televised, the four corners. You're able to come up, speak at the podium. You can give your name, but you don't have to give your address. And it will be on channel 191, which is Charter. It'll start Thursday. Starts at 8 in the morning, noon, 4, about every 4 hours, and it'll go on for 2 weeks. Now, sometimes the times are not exactly the same, but you will see it, this program. Approval of tonight's agenda. Are there any amendments to be made on tonight's agenda? A motion is in order to approve the agenda as presented.
So moved.
Second.
Any further discussion? Roll call, please.
I vote yes. Pardon me. Mathis,
Yes.
Kessler,
Yes.
Shoemaker,
Yes.
Gopal,
Yes.
Tucker,
Yes.
Lorraine.
Yes.
Motion passes.
Included in the packet are the minutes from the May 16th regular meeting and the workshop meeting. Are there any corrections or requested revisions to these meeting minutes? Mr. Tucker?
Nope, I didn't say that.
The meeting minutes stand as approved as presented. Expenditures. Are there any questions regarding any of the expenditures that are in front of you? I think, Mr. Tucker, you already know about the one that's on the top, the 2,000.
Yeah, the top sheet, for those of you that don't know, we had 3 weeks between meetings. So Tom sent me an email, said we're gonna run into some late fees, late charges. So I told him to go ahead and process everything that would bite us in the cost and fee category in the interim, and we paid those 10 days ago. So we stayed out of late fee trouble.
So when I give this total, I need to put this total in. We already paid them, but we need to have it approved. All right, a motion is in order to approve the expenditures totaling $246,831.20.
So moved. Support.
Any further discussion? Roll call, please.
Shoemaker,
Yes.
Gopal,
Yes.
Tucker,
Yes.
Kessler,
Yes.
Lorraine.
Yes.
I vote yes. Mathis.
Yes.
Motion passes.
Reports. Are there any committee reports to be made to the board? All right, the only thing that I have, I got an email today from the undersheriff, Chris Swanson, in regards to the Marine Patrol. It said this year we received an award of only $22,700. And their boat broke down, so they had to have repairs of $6,700. They said the most in the township, the lakes that they patrol are Fenton, Panema, and Silver. Now we've got to figure out a schedule, and that'll be your police and fire board. My suggestion is, a lot of times they're here on weekdays. It really isn't necessary unless it's a holiday. And sometimes it depends on Saturdays or Sundays on the lake, which is a better time to come in. Maybe not at 9 in the morning, maybe 11 when So you want me to give this?
Yeah, I'll take that.
Okay. And we got to get a schedule going because we're coming into 4th of July. And Mark, I believe on that case, if it's a weekend, do we pay overtime on weekends? I'm not sure.
I don't believe so for the regular patrol, but for any extra patrol, such as down at the point,
We do.
Yeah.
Okay.
But not for your standard patrol that we contract with them.
Okay,
Okay.
yep.
I'll double check when I call them, but, yeah, I don't believe so.
And maybe if you'd ask if they have 2 boats, because in that letter they said, so maybe the bigger lakes like Panema,
Well, I mean, that's all they really ever patrolled was,
Yeah.
well,
But-
Panema, Squaw, Tupper are all one.
Yeah.
And then you got Lake Fenton and Silver.
Silver.
That's really all, maybe Lobdell, but that's Argentine anyway.
yeah,
So,
yep.
I
Okay,
mean,
good.
that's no different.
Communications, none. Adoption of ordinances. This is a rezoning of an R16-002, Donald Doyle, part of parcel 06-24-200-027. This location is adjacent to 1221 Petts Road. It is zoned R6 to R3. We had this reading at our last meeting to rezone part of this parcel from R6 to R3, which was introduced at our May 16th meeting. Any discussion? Remember the lady was here and it's in a designated wetlands and, it is a designated wetlands and she said she wasn't going to build.
This is the one where we've done this exact thing for the gap parcel in between before, so
Yes.
it's just really an extension of what we've done before.
And then she also said she didn't want anybody, she's not going to build, but she didn't want anybody else building on part of it. All right, I need a motion to adopt an amendment to zoning ordinance number 594 to rezone part of parcel 06-24-200-027 from R6 to R3 as presented.
Second.
Any further discussion? Roll call, please.
Mathis,
Yes.
Kessler,
Yes.
Gopel.
Yes.
Tucker,
Yes.
Lorraine,
Yes.
Shoemaker. Yes. See, and I know him, I should vote no just for the heck of it. Yes. Resolution passes.
All right, proposed ordinance to repeal obsolete ordinances. This is the first reading. I'm going to turn this one over to Tom Broker in regards, and you have the ordinances in front of you.
The memo that I included in the packet kind of gives a brief rundown of why we're proposing to repeal these ordinances. The first one is one that was originally adopted in 1977, presumably to comply with a statute from 1976 that established the State Mobile Home Commission. But then a subsequent law in 1987 made this ordinance, pretty much preempted the ordinance. I did talk to Mr. Belzer earlier today, and while there are some things we might be able to do with an ordinance going forward, the original ordinance as it is truly obsolete, I believe, and even if we were to draft a new ordinance, part of that ordinance would be to repeal this anyway. Getting it off the books might avoid some confusion because it's been there probably longer than it needs to be. Wetland protection, a very similar situation. When the wetland protection portion of the Natural Resources and Environmental Protection Act went into place 22 years ago, our ordinance was pretty much, again, unenforceable. There was, I think, some hesitance to repeal the ordinance because it may look like the township didn't care about environmental issues, but I think what we found in the last 20 years is our ordinance doesn't apply to anything. The state regulates any wetland, I believe, that's greater than 1 acre or contiguous to a lake, stream, or river, and there aren't too many wetlands that don't fall into that category. And so the ordinance itself has not really been used. The last three, about a decade ago, on the recommendation of the building inspector at the time, we looked at the possibility of taking over as the enforcing agency for the plumbing, mechanical, and electrical codes, which means we would contract for those inspectors issue the permits and do the inspections out of our office under the assumption that it would generate revenue. Soon thereafter, we changed building inspectors, building activity dropped dramatically, and we haven't really gone any further with that. And it's my understanding from Dave Gibson, our current building inspector, that the state has changed some of the rules. They are discouraging local units, at least the ones our size, from doing the enforcement themselves. The idea being we're better off dealing with state inspectors and being more consistent. So those ordinances, while they were never really valid because we never took the second step of the action to become the enforcing agency for those codes, they were still on the books, and so we're looking to remove those as well. So there's a single ordinance to repeal all 5 of them, presented for first reading, and from there, I guess if there are any questions, we'll see what we can do.
Is there any board discussion in regards to these?
Mr.
Is there
Belzer?
any, pardon me?
Sorry. Mr. Belzer, have you looked over and
Yes, I did, and I did speak with Mr. Broker earlier today about in particular the mobile home one, but what he's saying makes a lot of sense.
so you would recommend?
I'd recommend doing as he suggested, yes.
Is there any public comment in regards to this?
What does that mean to our issue?
Pardon me?
What does that mean, our issue, the mobile home?
You want to answer that, Mr. Belzer?
Nothing. The ordinance that exists right now really doesn't do much to assist the issues that have been raised that I'm aware of. There are some provisions under the state law that maybe we could draft up something different, but repealing this ordinance that exists right now, that's not gonna have any real effect one way or another. There's nothing there to enforce to assist that issue.
This is what issue?
One of the issues as far as like, the people that live there not maintaining their property, you already have blight ordinances, you have other ordinances that cover this, and there's nothing within this mobile home park ordinance that specifically does anything to clean up any of the issues there. Some of the provisions within that ordinance have been overridden by state law. It's an old ordinance that doesn't meet up to state law for most provisions in there. There's very little, if anything, that you could enforce in that ordinance.
So why are we enforcing the blight ordinance? Why aren't we?
That's a whole
Oh, yeah,
nother
we just have to, Annette, we got to just talk on this one first, and then we'll let you
Did
speak.
you contact Laura at all? Mr. Belton, have you?
On this issue?
Yes.
No, why would I? I mean,
Just asking.
oh, no, I don't see any reason to do that.
Okay. That's where I've been directed with everybody that I've been working with, Mr. Graves, Mr. Tony Brown.
Well, I'm only addressing the old ordinance that we have,
Okay.
and there'd be no reason to contact licensing regulation on that.
Is there any other public comment? If not, this is the first reading. The second reading will be on June 20th meeting. And at the first meeting is when the public can speak. Second meeting, no, the board just votes on it. So if you do want to speak on this with your concerns, you're welcome to do it now. All right, unfinished business, none. Resolution, this is new business, number 2016-05. This is Consumers Energy Street Light Changes. Operation Manager Tom Broker, would you explain this one?
Yes. As you may know, we have a street lighting contract with Consumers Energy that dates back to 1976. Anytime we add a light, change a light, or what usually happens, we add lights through special assessment, we have to basically add them to that contract. And we haven't had any for a few years. I looked, the last time we had to do a resolution was 2013. But we do have several in the hopper for this year for new subdivisions or existing subdivisions wanting to put streetlights in. So in order to have that in place, we need this resolution that authorizes the supervisor and clerk to execute changes on behalf of the township to that contract. And those changes really are just adding these lights that will be paid for by special assessment.
If I can, Tom, I was in high school in 1976.
So was I.
So were you? What generically does this agreement say?
It's a contract for providing the operation and maintenance of street lighting within the township. I mean,
It
that's,
says they will provide it, they will bill us, we will pay it.
right,
That's basically the gist of what we're talking about.
Yeah.
yes.
Probably would have understood that in high school even.
But there's no cost to the township, so it's all
Well,
special
It's a
assessment.
It's right, it gets passed back. Well, are we picking up? Is there
No.
some nominal amount we pick up?
No, not in this case, because even the cost of publication, everything else for the special assessment districts have to be recovered on the special assessment. But it's not a huge amount. The first one we have actually is going to be Byram Ridge, and they're looking at, to cover the rest of the installation, electricity for part of this year, electricity for all of next year, electricity and maintenance, and the cost of administration costs for the notices to be mailed and published and everything else, about $75 to $80 the first year, and then they're looking at about $35 a year, roughly, for street
know,
lighting.
And it's a good thing.
Are they installing LED lights yet? 'Cause that will save our folks big dollars over time if we can get that.
Could be in the
You pay a
bill.
little more upfront, but
They're not, they haven't offered that yet, but I will pose that question to see if that's, because we're early enough in the process where if they want to switch to that, it might change the numbers,
Yes.
but long-term.
well, they are available, I know that.
Okay.
And they do save money long-term, and I'm all about that.
I will call consumers about that.
All right, is there any other questions in regards to that? Resolution number 2016-05. Clerk Krug, would you please read the resolution?
Yes, thank you. Be it resolved that it is hereby deemed advisable to authorize Consumers Energy Company to make changes in the street lighting service as provided in the standard street lighting contract between Consumers Energy Company and the Charter Township of Fenton dated September 29, 1976, in accordance with the authorizations for change in standard street lighting contract executed by the Charter Township of Fenton during the calendar year of 2016. And be it further resolved that the township supervisor and, pardon me, township clerk be and are authorized to execute such authorization for change on behalf of the Charter Township of Fenton. I will move the resolution.
Second.
Roll call, please.
Gopal,
Yes.
Tucker,
Yes.
Lorraine,
Yes.
Mathis.
Yes.
I vote yes. Shoemaker,
Yes.
Kessler,
Yes.
resolution passes.
All right. Are there any board comments to be made from any of the board members? None. I will say I'm going to adjourn the meeting, but I'm first going to do public comment on agenda and non-agenda items. We're going to have to do a time level, so 5 minutes, you can get up and speak in regards to your concerns. Please don't repeat the ones that you've said before. If there's new ones, we definitely need to know. So you're welcome to come up and Ooh, she hurt her leg.
My name is Annette, and Bonnie, I had a meeting with you and Mr. Hosey a couple weeks ago, and I was wondering if there were any new outcomes from that meeting, such
You-
as meeting with Mr. Riley.
You wanted
city.
a code that the inspection of
Yes.
properties.
Yes,
And we've had it the day after you came in.
okay,
And then I brought it here last week. So this is it here.
okay.
And you're welcome to it.
All right, what about contacting Mr. Riley about the rental inspections?
No, did not get into that.
Is that gonna happen?
I don't know. I'm going to have to talk to the board and also the attorney. You're saying rental inspections?
Yes.
Yeah,
We talked
and-
about the rental inspections,
Yep.
and that would help with the trailer park.
Absolutely.
And I already talked with Mr. Riley, and he's willing to help us out on that.
Okay.
You mentioned that there were gonna be some inspections in May on the trailer park. Has that
So far,
happened?
it has not. Talked to the code enforcement officer, building inspector, we're going to try to do it at the end of June. We're already in the first week of June, so they're trying to get their schedules together.
Okay. Mr. Belzer, is there any way, I've been contacting and talking with Mr. Brown and Graves and Horn, and they suggested that we contact Laura. Is that something that you could do and research that and see if there's some options and some things that we could do on this trailer park? I mean, is it really our responsibility as citizens to have to do all this legwork? When I talked to you, Bonnie, I asked you, and I told you, we want to work with you and get something accomplished on this trailer park.
I agree. I just couldn't jump at that time. We had other things that we had to do. So in that, we are doing it, but Mr. Belzer, this is just the second time, and he was out of the country, so we couldn't talk to him. In fact, this is the first day back.
Okay.
So we've got to sit down and talk to him. He's the one, this is a gentleman that will help us out, yes.
Okay. I just think we need to start making some strides here. We've been dealing with this for 4 months. Nothing has been done about it. Nothing. By anyone. This special meeting. Who's putting the special meeting together? Because I talked to Tony, he says you're doing it.
Not
You
me.
say
I've
Bob
never-
Krug's doing it. Who's doing it?
I have never said anything
When is
about
it
a
happening?
special
Can I
meeting at all.
help you with that, Bob?
Well, first of all, I can't find anybody that wants to participate, tell you the truth.
Well, I wonder why.
Well,
Are they afraid to?
let me put, I've talked to the health department. They say they have no police type authority over a trailer park unless it's an imminent threat to health and safety.
Certainly is
And,
that.
and a lot depends on how you interpret imminent. The last discussion I had was with Mr. Brown and Mr. Graves, trying to get someone that sits as a commissioner on the mobile home park commission. And I'm not getting a lot of good answers from anybody I talked to.
That's the problem. Nobody wants to deal with it. And it needs to be dealt with. I mean, there's gotta be somebody that has answers. Like I've always told my kids, there's a solution to every problem. You just gotta figure it out. That's why we're here. We wanna figure it out. It needs to be addressed. This has been a problem over 30 years in this community. And it's just being swept under the rug over and over again.
Will
It
you be able
needs
to
to
give
be
some
dealt
answer
with.
maybe in 2 weeks or-
It's horrible down there. The living conditions are horrible. You know that, Bob. There was a young lady that showed up at Terry's house last week.
Yep. It-
It's horrible.
And
It shouldn't be happening.
And I was able to get the local police involved. The lady that you mentioned has been asked to do something. To the best of my knowledge, she has not. So it kind of stalls us right there.
I spoke with her today, and she was going to be here, but she's sick.
Oh.
And
Because what she wanted will result in a domino effect, but she's got to tip the first domino.
well, she's willing to let you guys inspect her trailer. And by the sounds of it, there's a lot wrong with her trailer.
And I'm not smiling because you say that.
There's a lot wrong with all those trailers. And
No, it was hinted to me by several people that my invitation may have been requested and as a local official, it wasn't properly obtained, shall I say. Because I said, hey, can I come look at your house? And she said yes.
Thought I asked her that.
But if she's, and if she wants, she can call me. I'll talk to her and reiterate what we have to do, because that could be an issue that helps us take care of others. But here again, when I left that meeting, I truly thought she was going to do it the next day.
Well,
It's
there's a lot
been-
of fear involved there too, Bob.
I understand.
And
And we discussed that in length about the concern of fear retaliation can be helped at the same time that the process starts. And no big secret, we talked to this individual, who I will not name, about at the same time getting a PPO against the individual that she fears.
But she was supposed to.
She was supposed
That's
to
what the
bring some
detective said,
documents
yeah.
to Detective Sergeant and then go from there.
also, Mr. Graves had a conversation with Terry this week, and he mentioned that the township has the right to enforce the ordinances, and that in special situations, the ordinance can be adjusted. So maybe we should
And
take a
that's what
look at
they're
that.
gonna be doing it, ordinance that we're repealing. We're gonna look into possibly adjusting.
Right, and I passed out a couple of copies of the recent state statute.
And that's what we're looking into.
We can't hear what you're saying, I'm
By
sorry.
reappealing this one for 1977, then we're going to start a new ordinance in regards to the items that have been brought up in regards.
What actually Joe said to me, Mr. Graves, was that he spoke, I don't know who he spoke to, but he told me that he spoke to someone at the Michigan Commission. And they said that you can enforce your local ordinance.
We know that.
And he also said that if there's problem areas and your ordinances don't go far enough, they are very favorable and the leniency to make the necessary adjustments for you to be able to
Absolutely.
deal with.
And that's where we're starting on this, getting this one repealed and then starting. But we knew we could do that. That was given to us by Mr. Cooling not too long ago. All right, is there, Annette, may I have someone else come up,
Sure.
please? Thank you.
What I will
Oh, I'm
do,
sorry.
I'll talk before Joe goes to bed tonight, unless he's already there, about getting him and someone from the Mobile Home Commission to come have a meeting, and I'll push to have the meeting before the end of June.
Okay. And Bonnie, will you let me know when you're gonna do those inspections?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I can do, I have your phone number. Let me give you this paper.
Also, I can get a hold of Mike and get the information that you guys need and pass that on to you,
Let's
Mr.
do it.
Belzer, if that's what you're, for the rental inspections?
No, you're talking to building inspector, City of Fenton, right?
Right.
Like, when, I just had that one paper for you. All right, I'll give it to you. I put it somewhere.
That's fine. Thank you.
Did I pass it down?
The
On
police
that
report?
one? Yeah.
Yeah, Fitz has
Okay,
it.
I'll get it to you. That other paper is hooked to it. Is there anybody else that would like to speak on agenda or non-agenda items? Yes, Ted.
I'd like an update, if you have one, on the status of the Landings Way house situation with the trash.
The Landings Way House. Give me some more information.
The blight that you've taken the guy to court, the order, the blight on Landers Way.
The front porch is full of garbage bags.
Oh, I know which one. All right, that case now, Mr. Belzer has that, Mr. Cooley, I know what you're talking about. And it is in court, and it was Judge McCabe. And so, Jack might not even know about it yet, but they did have a hearing and he gave them some time. But you are absolutely right, it's in the process. Mr. Belzer now will take that over, maybe the next meeting or
Yeah, I
something.
believe that Mrs. Doyle went to court on that. and I-
No, this is a different one.
Oh, that's, okay.
Yeah, see,
Okay.
we haven't had time to give him all of the ones, but that one definitely is in court. Time, a deadline, the whole bit, because that's bad.
It's getting worse, and I don't know why. I don't know why they keep putting the garbage on the front porch.
It's terrible. Once it goes into the court, we have to put it in their hands. And then the judge, on a couple of them that we have had, and it goes into the courts, then the judge will say, all right, they give them so much time to clean up. And what he's talking about, it's a pretty bad one. And then they report back to the judge, yes, I have it done. Then they'll have the supervisor, building inspector, clerk, whoever, go out and look at it. And if we say no, it's not cleaned up, then it goes back to the judge again. And we've had that happen. Now, I know this is, I'm gonna say something because some people when it comes to blight, what's blight to me is not blight to them. And so, sometimes on this case, Ted, this might come up and they might not do it all. Then we gotta take it back to court again. And the judge will keep doing this, but they will get fines, definitely. And deadlines. And Judge McCabe is a good judge and he will follow up on it. But sometimes it takes a long process.
Is there anything else they do, Bonnie, besides fine them?
Pardon me?
Is there anything else they do besides fine and orders? I mean, at some point, do they do something else?
They can evict them if it's a health and safety issue after so much, if they're not complying with the order, yeah.
They can be jailed.
They can also put them in
Yeah,
jail.
or they can incarcerate them, yeah.
That's not likely, but possible.
And fines can be pretty stiff
Usually up to $500 plus costs.
of the court. So, but anyway, that's what I was saying. There was another one on one of the lakes, a little old man, and honest to God, in his mind, that was not blight. That was saving things that his wife wanted, and she had passed away, and he kept storing them. And finally, the neighbors all went over and helped him and cleaned it all up. And the man cried. He was happy, very happy. But to him, it was memories, not blight. And it's hard to talk to these people. But this one's bad, very bad.
So in that case, where does the subjectivity end? I mean, is it the judge's decision? Is it?
It's the judges.
It's not a subjective thing anyway. It's well, I guess that's not completely true. It's supposed to be objectively evaluated. Subjectivity comes into it. It's, you know, beauty in the eye of the beholder kind of a thing.
Right.
But, you know, in theory, the standard is an objective one, not a subjective one. So what he thinks in his mind isn't relative. It's an objective look at what is out there.
You're right.
How does it impact the neighbors? You know, that's how the test is supposed to be made. Sentimental value and that kind of stuff doesn't come
No,
up.
it
But
doesn't,
what
but it
Bonnie's
is.
saying is if the Judge McCabe says you got 30 days to do this, and he comes back and say, there, I did it, but in his mind, it isn't.
You take the pictures of Judge McCabe,
And then it'll go back to
he
the
looks
judge.
at them, you know, he'll make a determination. You know, he's a good judge.
I know.
He's
I'm
not
just
trying
trying
to-
to, in my mind, you know,
Yeah.
we're saying, you know, it's what you did, what's your definition of blight?
You're right,
He's
you're
gonna
right.
try and strike a balance. You know, he'll hear both sides out and he'll try and strike some kind of balance, but it's truly supposed to be an objective standard. It's like what the reasonable man would do, whatever that means.
Yeah.
And
Right,
that's,
yeah.
you know, that's-
And without some objectivity and specificity within the ordinance and the requirements, you can't enforce it. I mean, it goes back, for example, like the old noise ordinance says you can't be too loud.
Is our ordinance specific enough?
Our blight,
Yeah.
I think it probably is now.
I
Have you
don't-
read it?
I thought it was
No,
haven't
I
read through
really
all the
do. We've
ordinances
updated
yet.
it.
I remember that, I mean,
Usually what you want to do is you want to itemize as many of the specific problems as you can think of with specificity, and then you get the subjective stuff you throw in, you know, because you can't really, that's the part of what I love about my job, is you can never think of all this stuff in advance. It just blows your mind, you know, the issues and things that come up.
okay.
So, you know, you try and pin down as many as you can, and you leave some catch-alls for the rest of it.
We had a funny one today that came into the township. A woman was complaining about blight from the neighbor. And the blight was a swing set with a slide. And that to her was blight.
Well, I'm kind of thinking about the trailer park and this blight issue. I mean, the snowmobile's still there. Okay, but there's, I don't know, boat's been moved, there's another boat there. So I guess I'm trying to figure out if there's something that we actually can physically do.
I have wonderful pictures of.
I understand that. I mean, I know what you're talking, I drive by it.
We know,
But,
yeah.
but, I mean, can we say the snowmobile fits our definition of blight via the ordinance and, you know, take it?
Well, and if we start to do a new ordinance, we
I'm
can maybe
in
say
favor
a
of
certain
that.
amount of area, you know, that is between them, it might be 10 feet, I don't know what it is. But a snowmobile is dangerous because it has gasoline, you know, or storing boats between them.
Well, my
whatever.
take on that is, and I'm telling you, we need to go after the owner, because that's where we're gonna hit him in the, you know, if we make his life hell, I think it'll make everybody's life better.
Well,
I'm sorry to interrupt, but I agree.
let me interject something here. It's not a matter of going after the owner or anything like that. It's a matter of how you approach this.
Okay.
And you don't want to be targeting anybody. And as far as like snowmobiles or boats or whatever, usually ordinances require that they be licensed, legal. And if that's the case, unless you're going to stop everybody in the township from having
Taking
a
a
snowmobile in their
snowmobile.
yard.
I understand, that's where I'm trying to
Yeah.
find the medium here as far as, but, you know, I know what that park is. You know, he's gonna do the minimum amount necessary to maintain his cash flow legally. And whether that's, you know, I mean, if the snowmobile or boat isn't licensed, can we maybe
We can have them move it,
move
absolutely.
it, or let's do, that's been there it has, I mean, it's been there for years.
And there's things you can do relative to that. If it's not operable, if it's not licensed, if it's not legal.
Then let's do that.
You can do those sort of things, but
Let's pursue
you
that.
have to have,
That one has been through Hosey, so we'll see.
Don't they have a designated area?
I don't know.
You know what, we gotta just do the one at the podium, Al, then you can come up and speak, please. So we have it on the
Well, I
tape.
just thought the conversation was still.
Yeah, I'm sorry, I'll shut
No,
up.
but this way we have you on the tape and you'll be able to hear yourself. Go ahead, Mrs. No. Go ahead, Mrs. Garfield. Oh, go ahead.
Bob, just one thing. I think you might have misunderstood, or there might be some misunderstanding there. In the conversation with Miss Hurd, her name is Shelley Hurd, the lady that came to our house. We didn't even know who she was, and she was a bloody, beat-up mess. But anyway, the conversation was, and this is what she still thinks it to be, that you are going to call her so she can clean up her house, and you and Tom and the building inspector are going to go over and inspect her house. Now, she is in the process of looking for some other place to live because she's scared to death. She's afraid to pursue the PPO because she still has to live there and has no immediate money to move. I have been trying to work with a friend of mine and try to get her to go get assistance and try to get some help to get out of there, but she is absolutely petrified because You saw her, Bob. You know what a mess she was,
She had been
regardless as to what may have
whipped on.
occurred or didn't occur or whatever. I wasn't there. Anyway, she did tell me this, and this may be something that you guys need to look into. And she just sprung this on me recently. She said that her water smells like fecal matter. Whether it's hot or cold or whatever, the water smells terrible. She said, I hate even taking a shower in it. One of her friends was in the background and was concurring with it. I did speak to one of my personal friends who had rented down there in the RV section, and she said the water, but she's been gone over a year. She said the water did smell, but it didn't smell like fecal matter to her. So, I'm only bringing this up because I don't have the right to go in there and get a sample of the water and take it out and get it tested. You have all the power, I don't. So I'm mentioning that to you because that ought to be a concern to all of you, if it's accurate, If
the water system that the trailer, Eastview has, is mandated by the state, and it is checked all the time. He's got a very expensive water system. But if anybody has that smell or anything in their water, the township has got the bottles in their little box. You can come get them, test your water, test it, and set.
Does that go off to the health department then?
Yeah, yep. And you could list it. I want to check arsenic, I want to check for lead or whatever, and we do it every year.
Okay.
And it might cost you, I don't know, $12
But
maybe.
you gotta also appreciate the fact of the.
Appreciate the fact what?
Of the folks that we are dealing with here. Maybe some of us need to look out for folks that are less fortunate than we are. And when you go in there to inspect it, I don't know why you couldn't take a sample of the water and just get it checked.
I won't go in and inspect it.
Well,
Tom,
or
No, we gotta have
Bob, or
something.
whoever.
By the end of the week, I'll get a water sample.
Thank you very much. I just brought that up because that would be a big concern to me if I were living there.
Well, when I walked through, back when we had the meeting, Tony Brown was with me, and that was actually one of the things he suggested, and frankly, I thought he was gonna look into it, because that is a common water distribution system, is that correct?
Yeah,
Through the
absolutely.
park? And he believes that is supposed to be tested
Yeah, by the state.
by the state on a regular basis, and they were gonna look into that. I don't know if it was gonna go to Horn or who was actually gonna do it, but it is a community water distribution system. We don't have control over that. I know you think we do, but we don't. But somebody does, and that's what Tony
Well,
Brown.
but you have the control to call whoever, I don't know, I'm just bringing it up because she mentioned it to me, and that is quite
Well,
disgusting.
all I'm saying is Tony Brown thought that would be a good way to attack part of this problem as well, so
But
perhaps,
they do, it's all state. It's
I'll
regulated
talk to him
strong.
about it when I talk to him next. Bob, if you happen to catch him before me, would you?
I would
ask him
appreciate
about it.
that. I would appreciate, just for those folks, my water's fine, but I don't know about
It
theirs.
doesn't hurt though, every so often to have your wells checked, So, and it's a simple thing. Township has the kit. You just come in and do it.
Thank you.
Uh-huh. Go ahead, Al.
No, I was just commenting on the fact that they've got storage area. They've got a storage area for their boats, for their pontoons, and snow machines. They've got a spot to put this stuff. And the question is, why isn't it being done? Where's Hosey tonight? I thought he was gonna be here tonight.
No, what I'm gonna do with Mr. Hosey, because this is not his work hours. If you want to, Mr. Garfield wanted to talk to him, but I assumed that if you all had a meeting the other day,
Just wanted to tell you about
that
the
he,
conversation that he and I had.
all right,
Stop.
I didn't hear you.
All I was relaying was that I had spoke to him the day before and was gonna tell you about the conversation.
And
I had with
he
you.
told me,
And you told me I couldn't speak.
yeah, it did. And he told me also, but if you wanted to, you can come in and have a meeting and talk to Mr. Holsey. Myself, you're very welcome to. We just have to schedule it. Okay?
I had just one comment on the hoarder. If you can't find anything to do with them, just put them on TV.
Oh, who on TV?
The hoarder, I mean, put them on TV.
Oh, no. You know what? In all the years that I've been here, and do I agree with hoarders or blight or that? No. If anybody, I mean, I really get upset by it. But I've learned that some of these people are sick.
And
They
I
are
understand
sick.
that. But when
You
it
know,
flows
and I
from the,
can't judge them. All I can do is try to get them help. But
but when it flows
it's gonna
from
come
the
back.
inside of your house onto your porch, where's the next place?
oh
I mean,
no, that's true. That's true.
And that's what her house is.
Al, I've pleaded with this lady. I've tried to get, lady and man, I have tried to get them help. It's difficult.
Well, we're here pleading our case to, our cases to you guys.
No, and
you
we're
know.
listening. We're not letting it, we are listening to you.
And
You,
some of us in here know that that trailer park has had issues for 30 years. It's been addressed for a lot of years, and they've gotten stalemate, they've stalled, and here we are as a group, and I guess, you know, we all get tired of being here, but we all get tired of driving by and looking at it every day.
okay. We're trying. We are absolutely trying.
Okay, thank you.
There was one of the residents that wanted to know about the easements on Eastview.
He's not here.
He's not here. So maybe if he comes back at the next meeting or have him get a hold of me, I've got everything on the easements of Eastview, and there are 4 of them. That are listed. An assessor gave me all the details. Ted, would you like to come up? Yeah, please. The only reason is the tape recorder. You can't hear the people in the audience. I don't know what I did with that one paper.
This is a follow-up on the blight issue. Obviously, it's a judgmental thing.
No, I'm having a hard time hearing.
It's a judgmental thing, the blight,
Uh-huh.
okay? And somebody has to make a judgment. What would be wrong with the township board or the enforcement officer making a judgment of what is blight? If that mess is blight, and ticket them.
They did.
And let them prove that it's not.
They did.
They did?
He made it, he established it was blight. It's a process that he has to go through. And
If I could, Ted, it's the other way around. Like, if we issue a ticket,
Yes.
we have the burden. It's not up to somebody else to say it's not blight. We have the
We have to prove that it's not blight?
They don't have to do that. We have to prove that it is blight.
Okay, but that's our opinion, but we interject that into our answer that it is blight, then what's the next stage?
it's to the judge.
Well, then we have to prove that, first of all, you have to have an objective standard, that somebody can look at that and say, I can or can't do that
Right.
item. Once we issue a ticket and we go to court, they can sit there and say nothing, and we have to somehow prove that it is blight and get a judge or a jury, as the case may be, to agree with that.
Okay, what's wrong with us doing that?
It's in the process right now.
Yeah, nothing. I mean, I think that's what's going on.
It's
with
going
that
on right now, Ted.
Okay, then we could extend that whole idea to other places. You know, we're talking about a specific house, but we could be talking about a lot of places. Somebody has to decide, yeah, I think that's blight. I think I'm gonna issue a ticket. And then we argue the case.
Part of the problem, and I don't mean to interject here,
No,
but part of
that's
the
good.
problem that you always have to be careful of when you're a governmental agency or an entity like this, and you start doing stuff like that, there's a federal statute, 42, 1983, violation of civil rights under color of law. So the township has to be careful doing these things, that they don't turn around and get sued, and everybody individually, besides the township as a whole, has liability for that. So you can't just arbitrarily go about doing that. Or at least they do it against my recommendation. So you have to be real careful when you do that.
I understand that, but doesn't that tie our hands completely?
No.
By taking that, we're so fearful of a federal lawsuit that we will not try to enforce an ordinance.
No.
Oh, no,
No, not at all. You just can't arbitrarily, they'll go out and say, well, this looks horrible, I don't like the color of your house, so we're gonna give you a blight ordinance violation.
Well, we know that particular example would not work. But these other ones are very obvious to most of us and probably to you. It is blight. Now, if we can't ticket them because we're afraid of repercussions,
Oh, no.
Then we're not-
I'm not suggesting that. But you have to first look at the objectivity, and I'm talking without having this ordinance to look at. It's not right in front of me, but if you have the objectivity in the ordinance and objective facts to match up to the ordinance, then the ticket can be issued. I mean, we're talking in generalities here without any specifics. So I can't address it any different than that.
well, the ordinance is very general. And most blight ordinances probably are. I mean, I don't know how specific you can get.
So much nowadays.
Yeah,
A lot of
somebody
them
has to
going out.
decide.
Yeah.
And I hope we're not afraid to issue a ticket because of
Absolutely not.
what might happen.
No,
No.
no.
We're not?
Never,
Okay.
never.
Good.
We issued a ticket in Mr. Belzer's, did Amanda go in case, on that one case, on the blight? And she went in, issued a ticket, but he cleaned the blight up before. That was just a couple
Yeah.
weeks ago or something.
I wasn't there,
So,
so yeah.
yeah, they're issued, Ted, and then they go into the court
Like, I've got
system.
another question for Mr. Belzer. I know you work with other townships. Have you had a chance to review the Fenton Township blight ordinance?
No.
Okay.
I mean,
Would
there's a
you
whole
do
bunch of them, and I
that?
haven't looked at all of them. I mean, I look
Yeah,
at them as
individual.
necessary, yeah.
I wondered if you would do that
Oh, I
and
will. I will.
compare it with what Monday has or wherever else you've taken a look at ordinances and see if our ordinance is missing something that could be amended.
Oh, yeah,
Oh,
no,
yeah.
that's
To
on
make
the
it more
agenda,
specific.
for sure.
Okay. Because this is gonna, I think, affect a lot of issues in this township, other than this one house. Thank you.
Is there anyone else in regards to, David?
Is this just pertaining to the trailer park?
No, on agenda or non-agenda items?
I'd like to compliment all these people. I believe they're doing their homework, and I believe their 30 years is giving it the benefit of the doubt, if anything. But what I would like to do is pay a compliment to the Marine Patrol. They have been out. They are doing their job. It's good to see them. In years past, they had a boat that was highly, highly recognizable. Last year, I saw them with snowmobiles, or not snowmobiles, jet skis a couple of times. And personally, for just my 2 bits, I think that's a really good idea, because if you're screwing up, it doesn't matter whether the law's in a canoe or a sailboat. And a lot of people have jet skis now, and they're very maneuverable. They're hard to recognize. And if they kind of stir the pot and run the boat one time and the jet ski another time, wonderful. Because the 45-mile-an-hour speed limit that's in force on Lake Fenton is not on other lakes. And I've been through this, I don't know how many times, and I'm told that it's 55. But Well, I think I know the difference between 55 and 80.
I don't know.
Thank you.
Thank you. David, just one thing, I got you asked me at the last meeting about Panema, the road. We're putting in a 3-year road plan. It's going into the road commission tomorrow or the next day. Panema is scheduled for 2018 to be milled and chipped, the whole road. Panema.
I say, is ours? Is ours on your list?
Eastview?
And Torrey Beach.
Torrey Beach, no.
Well, that did come up at the last meeting.
Yeah.
And I received today, but I'm actually off this week, so I haven't read it yet, but I got the updated estimates on the Torrey Beach rehabilitation. So if there's someone who wants to pick up the petition process to get that going,
It'd be
we can
wonderful.
get that started this year with potential construction as early as next year if we get the special assessment in place.
And are we able to, when the people, whoever starts this petition, can they inform the petition signers on Torrey Beach that Landings Way and Eastview will be included in the assessment
They
district?
should
So,
be, yes.
Just so they don't think the 15 houses are taking the whole load.
And that's
Right.
exactly
It's gonna
what
be
some of them
another
did.
100 houses
Right.
sharing it.
We can actually, based on the numbers, we can come up with a cost division estimate. The board would still have to take action after petition is submitted to expand the district to include those properties, but that would be the intent. That's what we've done in past projects.
And that helps.
Exactly.
That's why I asked that.
Yeah.
So we can not
They need to divide it among many
scare 'em
people,
amongst
so cost
15
is not
versus
bad.
100.
Just one other comment, Bonnie. It's very nice of you to do your homework and let me know that the wheels are turning. But you're talking about the whole road, and I'm talking about 200 yards.
I know.
So the
but-
chip and seal is another Band-Aid, and what they spend on the chip and seal for the whole road, they probably could do the 200-yard problem right.
But I didn't say chip and seal. I said milling. They're going to tear it up. They're going to tear it up and mill it.
Well, milling's not
And
a
then-
big deal. I mean, you
No,
can go across
but
there and
I
stuff
did
it.
ask Dave, I thought, same as you, smaller distance, area where you talk about, and where I know where it's at too. And they said, no, that is going to be the whole road. But I haven't got any bids or anything on it, but that's in the plan.
Well, that's good. That's 3 years down the line, and I've been screaming for, how many?
All right. Is there anyone else? If not, I will
Yep.
say, oh, I'm sorry. Board members' discussion?
I do.
Okay.
I'll be brief, because I'm the first one that, our constituents have been here, or sorry, our neighbors, Al. As a business person, there's always a solution to a problem. And we've been sitting here for probably 3 months, 4 months, listening to our neighbors complain about a situation. And Jack, I look at you as our township attorney now, and I'm telling you, I want a list of solutions, because they're asking questions and we have no answers. I'd like to know what we can do and what we can't do. Because if Tony Brown and Representative Graves are saying it's our issue, I want to know what's our issue. If it's our issue, then we should fix the issue. This is enough, for me too. If there's nothing we can do, then tell me there's nothing we can do. If there is something we can do, I'd like to have a list of what we can do and give it to our neighbors so they can pursue those options, because they've been sitting here speaking over and over and over. They feel they have a problem. If we are the governmental entity that can fix it, then let me know. Then let's fix it. If not, we should send them in a direction where they can get it fixed.
But see, that's the problem. If there isn't any direction, because they've gone to them, they're all saying, yes, they can do it and do it and do it. They don't. What the most important thing is get an ordinance, get this thing updated, and pertain to mobile home parks. It's not just your mobile home park, it's everybody's. So we can have a category. on an ordinance. And then we can, but now just for an example, Mrs. Garfield and Mr. Garfield called the road commission the other day because I was already checking on it. They met with them, the road commission trimmed the trees. Am I right?
They trimmed one.
One tree, yeah, I'm sorry, I said trees.
Oh, no, I retired out of the road commission, and I talked to Mr. Daly about our issue.
No, I mean, just on the one
I
issue.
didn't talk to him about trees.
Weren't you there with Dan Hudson when they were cutting and you spoke to him?
Something else. We talked to them about how to move forward with getting the roads repaired. Sharon was the clerk of the board for 8 years. She retired.
Yeah, no, I'm just talking about, we are doing it, we are. But there is a tremendous amount of things in this mobile home park. When you had Graves and Horn and the meetings and that, they accomplished a lot. But it takes time also. So when you talk about this young lady, and I did not see her, I did not even hear about it, except the detective, Sergeant Lopez, gave me a police report. That police report says that Mrs. Hurd is the one that started the fighting. Then another lady. So I got to go along with the police report.
The point was, from our standpoint, and I told Bob this, the point was, it doesn't matter who was at fault. What matters is that is what the lifestyle is in that trailer park, and that's what these babies that are living in that trailer park have to be subjected to. That's what's happening there.
I know Shelley Hurd. I know of the different people that you're talking about. And yes, there is areas in that trailer park, and Mark will tell you this when he was in the sheriff department.
I'll tell you this about the sheriff's department. That's the worst trailer park in the county.
Yeah.
Out of, and I do agree with Vince. I would like to know what exactly, an actual list, what we can and can't do. But, I mean, you say it's not necessarily just that park, but I mean, it kind of is.
What?
I mean, just the attention to, I mean, even the other part, north end of Lake Fenton used to be that way, the trailer park there. And I don't know what happened to that owner, but you know what, he put some money into it. He got new trailers in, and it's a presentable trailer park. Whereas this one, I mean, there's 648 square miles in this county, and this, you ask any.
There's some other ones too, yes, and they're getting worse.
I'm aware.
Yeah.
But you ask any officer that patrols the entire county, this is number one. Mm-hmm. And I don't think that's a
well, what we'll do, Mark, is we'll get into these ordinances, and then we have something to enforce. And Mr. Belser can help us.
If I
You know, when you're in business and you have an issue, you fix it. We've been elected to fix something. They're asking us to fix something, and I'm just getting pretty upset to the point where we're taking an hour and a half of our time at every meeting, and we're not fixing anything. Tell me what we can fix.
True.
Donnie, can I finish, please?
Yes.
What can we fix and what can't we fix, Jack? Mr. Belzer, what can we do? Make a list so they know. So maybe they shouldn't be sitting here and talking to us. Maybe they should be in Lansing. But, how long is this going to go on? Are they going to be here next summer and the following summer? They're saying it's 30 years. Tell me, as a trustee, as an elected official, I'm here. If it was my business and they were coming in and they were saying, every time I come here, your toilet's flooded, I would fix the problem. They're asking us to fix the problem. Tell me what we can do to fix the problem.
One of the things I'll need is a specific list as to the issues. I mean,
And
I
I can
gathered
give you
up
that.
some of them. But the things like the water being bad, that's up to the state. Ted.
Then
had
tell them.
Passing dealings with the state and their water systems in the past. And so that's the state. The township can do nothing in that. Let me finish. So that's all the township can do is say you have to go to the state. The thing about the snowmobiles or storage areas, you can't regulate their storage areas. If it meets the requirements for a storage area, you can't make somebody use that storage area. unlicensed, inoperable vehicles, snowmobiles, boats, whatever, you can regulate that. You can pass an ordinance that you can do rental inspections on mobile homes. And that's one of the things Mark and I talked about, I don't know, 2, 3, 4 weeks ago, something, whatever. Last time I was here anyways.
Well, what we have, when we do that though, and Bonnie said something similar, we have to be aware, we cannot pass mobile home park specific ordinances.
That's true.
Can't do it. Be illegal and unenforceable. Anything we do is township wide,
Right.
and it applies whether you're in a mobile home park or you're
Right.
on Lake Fenton in one of the mansions out
Right.
there.
So if you're gonna stop storage on the property, that's township wide, for example. Like
Yeah.
if you're not gonna allow motorhomes parked there, that's township wide or
Right.
whatever.
Okay. I, with Vince, though, I don't think that's an unreasonable request.
Oh,
And I
no.
understand you want specifics as to what we're, and we can give you that.
Yeah, and then I can know how to address these things.
We can,
Well, I think it would be nice if they could come in and only ask us questions about what we can fix. Asking us about
That
a
makes
road,
sense.
bridge, we can't fix the bridge,
Right.
and a road in Mundy Township. That's not our job. But if they've got specific, if they had a list to say, this is what we can do, then they know, you know, should I come here and talk to the township, or should I be talking to another, you know, governmental entity? Should I be talking to Mr. Gray, or, you know, Representative Gray? Should I be talking to Tony Brown if it's a county issue? You know, it seems like we haven't solved their problem in 10 meetings.
And it keeps coming back to the township.
That's not true.
The township has authority. It is true, Bonnie. Nothing's been addressed.
You know what? I agree with all,
Nothing's been followed through on.
I agree
And
with-
like you said, a business. You operate as a business, you have a problem, you solve it. It's like me running apartments. If I had somebody that was a hoarder, I'd have to deal with it, Bonnie. If I had somebody that was selling drugs in my apartments, I'd have to deal with it. If I had somebody that had blight in their apartment, I would have to deal with it. We have to deal with it. We have to find a solution. There is a solution. We have to work together with Mr. Graves, with Mr.
but
Moore,
you know what I feel
That's
though?
not happening.
All right, let me
Everybody's-
just speak a minute on that. What I really feel is I do hear your complaints. You watch me. I write every one of them down. Within the 2 weeks, they are addressed. Now, maybe other ones have come up and you've come back, but I can show you everything that you have told me except moving them out, relocating. You told me we need to relocate these people. Township can't do that. But we have done it. Now, you can't, yes, 30 years, 40 years, I've seen it. I've seen it all. It is bad, but it is also, people like what that police report is, makes it bad. Makes it bad. And there's histories on these, on the group of people that was in this one. And so I don't want you people to think that we're not doing it.
We're frustrated by it.
I am too, though. But I mean, like Vince just said it, if Vince would just come in the office, I'll show you how, from the time Mr. Garfield contacted us, which was a long time ago, we have, since Annette, the only thing I didn't do is the one thing, but I couldn't do it because my attorney is new and he was out of the country. We are working on that. Some of the things I can't jump that quick. Now, it's easy for me to come in, like some of the politicians come in and promise the world to you. I can't promise it to you, but I sure am trying. And I'm the one that is getting the slack. I'll take whatever you want to handle. But by God, I'm working, trying to help you people and people that's in that park.
Bonnie, I want to clarify something. I don't think there's someone that works harder than you do. And that's not what I'm saying. I'm saying that what we need to do, I'm asking our township attorney
We got
to make a list of what the township can do for these people. We don't need to discuss it anymore.
No.
I mean, if I had to have 10 meetings with my business, I wouldn't be in business. So all I'm asking is our township attorney to define what we can and can't do, and then tell them where they need to go to get what we cannot do fixed, if it's even fixable, and I don't know. So Bonnie, I can tell you this, there's nobody that works harder for you than she does. As a part-time trustee, I will say that from the bottom of my heart.
Agreed.
She is the hardest working person, and I'm not trying to make us look bad. I'm just saying that I'm tired of listening, or not tired of listening to you. I'm saying that but we're going nowhere. We've heard the story a million times.
Yeah.
but
I'm tired of
See, and you can't,
We
that's
just
the
need to
problem.
get it fixed, and, you know, being a business person, I'm appalled at the fact that we can't fix this or do something, so there's gotta be something we can do, and if we can't, then you need to pick your chair, you know, yourselves up and go somewhere else. Because if we're not the, you know, governmental unit that can fix your problem, you need to know what we can and can't do, and what we can do, you should hold us accountable for, but what we can't do, I mean, we can't fix water problems, so you shouldn't even ask us about them. And I want our township attorney to let me know what we can and can't do and let you know. That's all I'm saying.
Would it be, Bonnie, would it be beneficial if, it's only 10 minutes from here, would it be beneficial at some point in time before you get too far into the new ordinance that Mr. Belzer actually drove past that park and saw what we're talking about?
And Mr. Belzer is from the area, and I think you know.
Yeah, I
He
know
knows
all
it
about
very
but
well, yeah.
That doesn't, what I need is, what I need is a list of the things that want to be addressed.
But you see, we've been giving them all along, and
Well,
if somebody hasn't been keeping the
I,
correct
you know,
list, I don't know.
Oh, no.
apart from that,
I have.
I'm saying what I need is a list of things that want to be addressed, like if we're going to do inspections and licensing of rentals, which, on all these things, when you address the one problem at this mobile home park, now you're going to address it throughout the
Through
township.
the township.
So you can't just inspect mobile home rentals, you're going to inspect apartments and everything else within the township.
I have been calling some of the local units of government. There are other entities in Genesee County that have the inspection programs.
Right, some do, some don't.
Some don't.
And you're right, it's for anything that's rented in, but that's how you keep down blight.
And it's how you stop slumlords from operating, because if they're renting substandard housing, then you have a safety. Do they have smoke detectors, and do they have the things that, things that they should have?
Yes, and then go ahead.
Water, the one with the bad water there in the trailer park. And Mr. Belzer said somebody's got to contact the county or the state.
No, the state.
State.
Well, it makes it sound like we're supposed to do it, or are you guys gonna do it? Are you
Anybody
gonna do it?
can, I don't.
Anybody, yeah.
Well, what I'm getting at is if you contact somebody in the state and say, listen, we've got a problem with the water in this particular trailer park, could you send somebody over to have a check? I mean, are they gonna listen to me? Probably not.
I don't know that. I just know that that's regulated anytime you have community wells or
But, I mean,
something.
you make it sound
They do
like
their
it's
checks.
one of our jobs.
No, I'm not saying that.
Well, you make it sound that way.
No, I'm just
No.
saying that the state is the one. It's not, townships
Well, I'll
only,
call them. Have you guys got the number available, so when I come
it's
next? for the next
DEQ,
meeting,
I,
give me the
you
number?
know.
Yeah, it would be this,
But what,
I'll call
what everybody needs to understand is townships only have the authority granted to them by the state.
And Mr. Belzer, what you need to understand is when we went to the senators per Mrs. Mathis' instructions, call them, so we did call them. When we go to all of those people, they come right back here and tell us we have to
Sure.
work here. So we
Yeah.
come right back here to you. That's why we're here at every
Okay,
meeting.
yeah.
And we're not giving up till we get
Well,
some
no,
help.
and this is, you know, like, if you're a fan of government and, you know. the
Well, I've
gov-
become not a fan and I retired out of the government.
Okay, may I finish the statement?
Sure.
If you're a fan of government, you understand that, and I am, that this level of government is really the grassroots of our whole system here. And this is the place where, I mean, I've been doing this for a lot of years, and this is a place where people even come and talk about capital punishment, because this is a government you can get to, you can address, you can be part of. And that's, I mean, I think it's great. I mean, I love that all this goes on. But there's limits to what can be done at this level, and I don't know all these issues. I mean, this is the second meeting, I keep making notes as to what some of these issues are, but the township can only do what they're empowered to do by virtue of state law.
That's all we want.
Yeah.
That's it.
And that's why, like, if I get this list of things, I can go through different statutes and everything.
I can
and
give
see
you the
what we
list.
can do.
That's all we
I've
want.
got the
We'll be
list.
happy to
We
meet
wanna
with
work
you
with you
privately.
guys and you guys that work with us. That's,
To solve the
just-
problem, exactly.
that's all we're asking for. You know, we're not shooting for the moon.
And really, somebody's gotta make Sam accountable. I mean, seriously, this guy is sliding under the rail and has been for a long time. He's getting away with a lot. I'm sorry,
Okay.
Bonnie, but he is. I know.
Now, wait, don't even say that, because there's a rumor going
I
around,
know the rumor.
and
I
it's
heard it from my
ridiculous.
neighbor. I
It's
laughed.
absolutely ridiculous.
It's a
And
rumor.
And
So
it
don't
is a
worry about
rumor, and it's about me, and in fact, it makes you, it's disgusting, as far as I'm concerned. But we are doing a job, and I can put a list together with Mr. Belzer. I will work with Mr. Belzer, because I know all your concerns. I've got everybody's name on whatever question you asked or complaint. And we will get something if we can. And the only way I can do it is I've got to have an attorney to give me the right direction to go in. And mobile home parks have been, for years, one of the hardest things in the world to touch.
Well, have you called the, Michigan Mobile Home Commission?
Many times.
Belzer?
Oh, Mr. Belzer?
No, I haven't.
No, he hasn't.
Oh, well,
He just,
according to Mr. Graves, that's one of the places you need to go as a township.
Yeah.
now, we know the different steps, and we will do it. But we got to give him a little bit of time. I mean, he's just,
Want some direction, I mean. and
some
again,
direction.
I need my direction from the board here as to what they want me to do, and like I said, I've been making notes as to, and I have my notes from the last meeting here that I was at with some of the issues raised. The dirt bikes, the dogs barking, special assessment things. But, yeah, so, when I get this list, I can look through the state statutes and see what the township is empowered to do, and then the township can make a decision, what they want to do. The board can make that decision.
One of the biggest problems there is unsafe and sanitary living conditions. You're talking rats under the trailers. You're talking, I talked to a charter man that came out with rat poop totally caked on his back going underneath the trailer. You know, in wiring, shorting out. I mean, a building inspector
That's
could walk in there and
mistake.
see a million things wrong with it. That's what I don't understand. I mean,
All right,
the
well,
living conditions are horrendous there.
We'll get with Mr. Belzer, and we'll start working on it. And then we'll give you an update, you know, on what the progress in that.
And I did pull about a bunch of information for that young lady that showed up at Terry's the other day about voucher options for people in housing. There's Section 8, they can apply for that stuff. There are options for those people. I
This-
deal with that stuff every
This
day.
young lady has been around to many different developments in the township over a period of
I'm
years.
sure they all have.
So,
And they land up in the trailer.
but, yeah.
Yeah, that's a problem.
So anyway, that's what we're going to do. Mr. Belzer's going to help us now. We got somebody that's going to help us. Not that Mr. Cooley didn't, but Mr. Belzer now will be active on it, and we'll get something, you know, something going.
Bonnie, can I make one suggestion? I think if they would appoint someone and get all their issues down, so when you put your issues together, you can meet with them, so nothing is missed.
Yeah,
Does
I
that
won't,
does
I
that make
haven't
sense?
missed
So-
anything.
Well,
I've written it
you know,
down,
I
everything.
just want, so it's very clear, so they, later on, both parties can't say, well, I said this and you said this and we didn't
Absolutely.
do this. So I think it would be smart if they appointed someone and they got their list of issues, and then you sat down with them with what you've taken notes on.
We can do that.
And it was very clear. I just
Yeah,
think
we
that
can
would
absolutely
solve
do
a lot
that.
of he said,
But
she
it's
said.
going to take a few weeks, for sure, to get this together, just
Well,
on the
we've
stuff that
been
I know.
30 years, so we got weeks.
Yeah, we all do. Thank God we have some time.
That trailer park didn't just go bad overnight.
That's right, Al. Is there any other discussion, board discussion? All right, I will say good evening, the meeting's adjourned.
Hey, John.